Girls who peaked in high school. What happened after graduation? High schoolers used to harass me and tell me they wanted to get me pregnant behind my middle school. I was often called pretty because I was skinny, had clear skin, long hair and fit every beauty standard. I was even able to get a wavy-haired Japanese boyfriend who worshipped me, and called himself lucky because I chose to tickle his prostate. I was living the dream, being the center of attention and getting treated perfectly, but I never realized that I peaked in high school. After graduation, I left Japan and went to study in America since it has always been my dream. I never imagined that this would be the beginning of my downfall. Once I moved into the dorms, my rose-tinted glasses fell off, and I started to see just how terrible McDonald's people live. I never had any privacy to myself, and I can't count how many times I had to go to the bathroom to fart because I didn't want my roommate to hear. I had to wear nose pinchers and risk being called insane because of how bad the air around campus smelled. And my neighbors were always going to town with some randos, so I blasted Baby Shark to help with the romantic mood. My boyfriend got to hear about all my complaints because everyone around me thought this was normal. He'd tell me to move back because he missed me, and though it was tempting, I had already paid the tuition, so there was no turning back now. But what really made me decide never to go back to Japan was losing my clear skin. Suddenly, I had blackheads, ugly pimples, and red, dry patches. There were so many pimples that I joked about starting a pimple popping account to pay for tuition. People even laughed when they saw me. Even the supposedly nice sorority girls suggested I use Star's pimple patches, but they didn't help at all. I thought if Americans mocked me for my looks, I'd definitely be bullied even worse in Japan. It was tough accepting how much I'd changed. Now, I started avoiding FaceTime calls with my boyfriend because I didn't want him to see my awful, disgusting skin. He'd get upset and say he missed seeing my beautiful face, so I couldn't deny it over the phone too. I would just silently cry to myself about it whenever he said that. I wondered what I did to deserve this, but then I noticed a pattern. All the sorority girls had thick layers of makeup hiding dots, which were obviously pimples, and my roommate spent hours on her skincare routine. Despite that, her skin still looked crusty and full of red acne. She couldn't recommend any good skincare brand because her acne resisted all treatments. With no help from her, I went online to figure out what caused my acne and how to fix it. Turns out, the new food, us makeup, or air quality could have caused my breakouts. I freaked out because that meant I was doomed to live with acne forever. After another day of stares and comments about my acne, I called my boyfriend to vent. I was so frustrated I didn't notice he switched the call to FaceTime. It wasn't until he asked, "Who are you and why do you sound like my girlfriend?" that I realized. I was more confused by what he asked than I was freaked out when he saw my pimply face. Then he followed up his question by saying that I should take off my mask because he thought I was a skinwalker. I told him my skin was messed up because of something in the States, but I was still the same person he loved. He replied that his parents would never approve of a distasteful creature and hung up. I cried for hours, trying to call him back, but he had blocked me. My boyfriend's harsh words made me realize how cruel people would be if I stayed ugly, so I skipped classes the next day to find a solution for my ugly skin. I found some products that seemed promising because other people with skin worse than mine cleared their skin with it. So, I went out and bought them the next day. I happily applied the new products, thinking they'd solved everything, but nothing changed after 3 weeks. My roommate saw me freaking out and reminded me that she had warned me about the ineffective products. After that failed attempt, I went back to searching all over social media for a solution, though it wasn't until I was on YouTube that I found something promising. It was a video called "Is Water Ruining Your Skin?", where 2 dermatologists talked about the effects the water hardness in your house has on your skin. No matter what products you used or how long your routine was, if your water had toxic minerals like calcium carbonate, your skin wouldn't clear up and would be prone to breakouts. This explained why I broke out in America but not in Japan, since the water in Japan was very pure but the water in America was harsh and caused pimples. The dermatologists shared studies showing that high calcium carbonate in water can lead to eczema, sensitive skin, dryness and irritation. They recommended getting a water filter to remove the calcium carbonate as the best solution for dealing with hard water. The dermatologists recommended a Q-Urify water filter, saying it was clinically proven to improve the skin in 2 weeks. They also suggested using a clean towel and pillowcase to protect against bacteria. While buying the Q-Urify water filter, I filled out the water report on their website and found out my college's water had chemicals like arsenic and dibromochloromethane. None of those words are in the Bible. Finding out my water had arsenic and dibromochloromethane, which can cause skin cancer and brain damage, pushed me to get the Q-Urify filter, towel and pillowcase. After a week of using them, my skin had fewer pimples and less dryness. I finally began feeling like myself again as my beauty returned. I would stare in the mirror to admire the clear parts of my skin because I missed it so much. I looked so good, my coochie clenched. I even wondered if my ex would want me back, but then remembered he dumped me for being ugly, so I was better off without his bum. 2 weeks later, my skin was almost clear with hardly any pimples and my skin was looking healthy again after it finally stopped feeling like an onion. After 2 weeks, my skin cleared up with no scars, and the blackheads were gone. Even my roommate had the same results with the Q-Urify filter. She came out of the bathroom one day, screaming with joy that her acne was finally gone. Her skin was smooth for the first time, and she looked like she just got the best day of her life. She didn't even use a face towel or pillowcase like I did, which proved that water was the key to fixing our skin. And after seeing our results, other girls in our hall started using our sink with the Q-Urify filter. Since then, my roommate hasn't stopped talking about how her life has changed. People finally notice her, boys are asking for her number, and she even got invited to a party for the first time, even though it was at a furry convention. She even asked me to come along to show off how hot I was. Her comment motivated me to book a flight to Japan because she believed I was the only person that could seduce a guy out of his arranged marriage.